Tonight, consistent with our obligations under the ABM Treaty and recognizing the need for closer consultation with our allies, I'm taking an important first step. I am directing a comprehensive and intensive effort to define a long-term research and development program to begin to achieve our ultimate goal of eliminating the threat posed by strategic nuclear missiles. This could pave the way for arms control measures to eliminate the weapons themselves. We seek neither military superiority nor political advantage. Our only purpose, one all people share, is to search for ways to reduce the danger of nuclear war.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and welcome to this month's Live from at the Reagan Library. Remember, we do these on the first Wednesday of every month. This is our second month in a row going live at 5 p.m. Pacific instead of 9 a.m. Pacific, so thank you so much for joining us and finding us. We really appreciate it. We are going back to engaging with you, so please, if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, right now go to that comment box. I'm going to be going to you guys off my iPad throughout the entire program in about 30 seconds actually. So go to that comment box, put in your name, where you're watching from, so I can say hi and give you a shout out, or ask a question about the Reagan Library or this exhibition. Again, I'm going to be going to that throughout the entire program, so don't be shy, go now. But first you might be wondering, why am I standing at the entrance to the Millennium Falcon with a stormtrooper and R2-D2 near me? Well, that's because I'm standing in the Reagan Library's brand new special exhibition, Defending America and the Galaxy, Star Wars and SDI. And in this Live From podcast, we are going to be showcasing objects from both President Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative, as well as from the Star Wars movies and the franchise. I do want to point out that Ronald Reagan was so pivotal in the Strategic Defense Initiative and how it has impacted us today in terms of our defense. So we're going to talk about that. And then the other thing which is really unique is there are actually a lot of Star Wars exhibitions that tour. You may have seen one if you live in the Los Angeles area. There was one called The Fan Strikes Back that was just, I think, 3 or 4 months ago that was touring. What's different between those exhibitions and this exhibition? Of course, this exhibition also has the Strategic Defense Initiative objects, but the exhibitions that tour on Star Wars tend to be fan recreated objects. So the props you're seeing, the costumes you're seeing, they're recreations by fans. Still super cool, but the objects you're going to see here in our gallery are authentic to the actual movie franchise. So that makes this exhibition truly, truly unique. So as I promised, we want to say hi to all of you. So again, I'm holding this handy dandy iPad. So if you have any questions, please, I can see you on YouTube. I can see you on Facebook. I can see you, but no one's commenting. So please, please, please go tell me where you're watching from, your name, your city, and I will say hello. I don't see any comments right now. We're going to go back to this momentarily, so please do say hi. It's probably my favorite part of this is when we get to talk to you guys, so please do engage. So let's start with the Star Wars movie franchise. We're going to take a walk now. So in this exhibition, we really talk about George Lucas and the creation of the Star Wars movies. It was so important to him to create something new and exciting, things that hadn't been done before. So when it became time to film A New Hope, the 1977 Star Wars film, he wanted to make it look very different. So enter the visual effects supervisor. His name was John Dykstra. And what John did is he actually created a whole new system of cameras. He actually designed and built a computer-controlled, motion-controlled camera. And what's so cool about that is that George Lucas wanted to do this because he wanted the spaceship shots and the frenetic dogfighting shots to look really realistic. And prior to this invention by John Dykstra, if you were filming a scene like that, you would build the miniature spaceships, you'd put them on sticks, and you'd sort of whiz those sticks past the camera. But with this new invention, what they were able to do is create the miniatures and put them on sticks, but move the cameras around the sticks and around the miniatures. And in doing so, it actually created scenes in which it looked like the cameras were flying in space through the dogfight. Super, super cool. And what's behind me here on this side is the actual camera, one of the cameras of course, but the actual camera used to film A New Hope, the 1977 Star Wars. And this camera was specifically used to film the Death Star scene. Pretty cool. Death Star explosion scene. I should have been more specific. And behind me on the other side is a Vista cruiser camera. The other one was a Technorama camera. This is a Vista cruiser camera, and it was used in multiple Star Wars films, first being used in Return of the Jedi. And again, it's used for more of that motion picture controlled camera shots. So we are going to now round the corner. After we round the corner, we're going to engage again. So please, please, please don't be shy. Ask us your questions, put in your name so I can say hello to you. But we're going to stop right here because this is pretty cool. This is an original Star Wars 1977 script. It's signed by Dave Prowse, the actor who played Darth Vader, and it's sitting next to the actual helmet he wore. A fun fact about Dave Prowse, when he auditioned, he was offered the role where he could choose. Did he want to be Darth Vader or did he want to be Chewbacca? And he chose Darth Vader. I think he chose right. What do you guys think? Okay, I'm going to try one more time. Let's see if anyone has said anything. So let's see if we can make this work. We are going to check. Look at that. We have someone watching from Malaysia. Haslin from Malaysia. That is amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in. What time is it there? I'm very curious. We have Eddie 9 from Fort Worth, Texas. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. We have, oh my goodness, we have Hiroki. I apologize if that's not pronounced right, from Japan. This is incredible, people. Thank you so much for watching all around the world. It means so much to us. Anan from York, UK. What is with all these international people? That is so cool. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Really, really do appreciate it. Let's see if anyone has, we also see someone on YouTube as well. Max Waller, thank you for watching. Kelly, God bless President Reagan. We couldn't agree more. Someone from Indiana, Ron from Indiana. Thank you all so much. I'm going to go back to this in about 30 seconds to 60 seconds. So please keep sending in your comments. I'm going to say hi to all of you. But we're now going to walk around the corner to my personal favorite in the entire exhibition. Of course, everyone's going to have a different favorite. I'm curious what yours might be. This is my favorite. I think it's so iconic of the Star Wars filming franchise, and it's pretty amazing in my mind that we have it here. We have the actual dress that Carrie Fisher wore as Princess Leia in A New Hope. Now, this is the dress she wore in the end of the movie when she's giving out the medals to Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. I'm going to share a fun fact about this dress. If you know anything about television or movies, when they're filming the movie, the costume designer either designs or purchases multiple copies of every single garment. So that's in case you're wearing this black blazer and you spill or it gets dirty or it gets torn. It's not a big deal because the actor or actress can just put on the other item. The budget for A New Hope was so tiny. It was $11 million for the entire film, of which $2 million went solely to the special effects, that they only made one of these dresses. So this is a true fact. When Carrie Fisher wore this dress, she was not allowed to eat, she was not allowed to drink, she was not allowed to walk around the set because, heaven forbid, this got dirty. They had no replacement. So this is the one and only dress from the movie, which to me, again, makes it my favorite artifact or object in the entire gallery related to Star Wars. The last object I'm going to highlight on the Star Wars side, and again, we have so many, and after I highlight this one, I'm going to go back to my screens. This is an actual land speeder from A New Hope. The land speeder was the anti-gravity vehicle that Luke Skywalker flew, I'm not quite sure what it would be called, when he was transporting himself across the planet Tatooine. Now, if you don't know, it was actually filmed in Tunisia. And what's cool about this vehicle is that the designer of the vehicles for this movie was also designing the vehicles for the James Bond films. So he took the three-wheel Bond buggy and sort of redesigned the body of the vehicle and turned it into a land speeder. Now again, if you watch the film, the land speeder is flying, but this was before CGI. So how did they do it? Because it actually had three wheels. I learned this today. They attached mirrors to the wheels so that when they were filming it, you saw the reflections of the land and it looked like it was flying. Pretty cool. So again, This movie was made in 1977, before all the computer effects and special effects we have today. The special effects supervisor received an Academy Award. The wardrobe designer received an Academy Award. So pretty great. And again, this is just a small sample of the items we have in the Star Wars section. Again, a reminder, all the items we have in the Star Wars section are authentic to the movies. We have concept art, helmets, props, costumes. We talk about the lightsaber and the blaster, and it's all original to the movies, which again, I think is pretty cool. I do want to point out that this exhibit is in no way affiliated with Disney or Lucasfilms, and the items here were put together by us through our curatorial team. So the next thing we're going to do is move over and explain Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative and explain why the exhibit is here together. But first, I want to go back and see if there's any more comments, which I really do hope there are. I see Douglas Chin from Monterey Park. It's nice to have someone local. Thank you for watching. And he voted for Ronald Reagan his first time voting. Super cool. Thank you so much for tuning in and for saying hi. Our gentleman from Japan asked a great question. He asked if Ronald Reagan and George Lucas met and talked about Star Wars. So to my knowledge, no. And to my knowledge, Ronald Reagan didn't see the movie Star Wars, at least up until the White House years. He might have seen him post-White House. But in the White House years, he did not watch Star Wars. We know he watched a Star Trek movie. An interesting thing about Ronald Reagan and George Lucas, and we'll get to it more on the Strategic Defense Initiative side, George Lucas did not like that Ronald Reagan's policies were called Star Wars. And he actually filed a lawsuit to get a judge to stop that from happening. But in essence, the judge said that the word star and the word wars was too common in the English language and it couldn't be banned from use. And so George Lucas did not win that lawsuit. So Joseph, who's 8 years old, is watching. Hi, Joseph. I hope you come out, and I'd be very curious to hear what object you liked in here and if you've seen the entire Star Wars franchise. That would be pretty cool. Hi, Mark. Thanks for watching. Josephine Preeny, you were at the exhibit today. I want to know what you thought. I hope it was good. So we are now going to walk to the Star Wars side, the Strategic Defense Initiative side, and we're going to explain the connection between the two. So in March of 1983, March 23rd to be exact, Ronald Reagan gave an address to the nation. And during his address to the nation, he announced his plans for the Strategic Defense Initiative, which was a groundbreaking research program designed to look at how nuclear war could be stopped or could be eliminated in its entirety. During his speech, Ronald Reagan used photos and he used charts. And he actually showed photos taken of the Soviet Union war buildup to try and explain the importance of being able to eliminate them. The very next day, Senator Ted Kennedy went on the news. And when asked about the program, he made fun of it and called it science fiction, not possible, and he called it Star Wars. And literally the name stuck. All of the critics, all of the media of Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative started calling it Star Wars. That's when George Lucas sued. Ronald Reagan didn't like the name Star Wars. For Ronald Reagan, this was not about war. This was about peace. In fact, in our galleries, in this gallery, when you're here to see the exhibition, we highlight some of the memos that Ronald Reagan and his administration passed back and forth for 2 years, trying to come up with other catchphrase names that the Strategic Defense Initiative could be called in the hopes that people would stop calling it Star Wars. One of those names was the Strategic Space Shield. Obviously, it didn't stick. 2 years after Ronald Reagan announced his plan, so now we're in March of 1985, Ronald Reagan basically gave in to the name Star Wars. Let's watch that clip.
Strategic Defense Initiative has been labeled Star Wars, but it isn't about war. It's about peace. It isn't about retaliation. It's about prevention. It isn't about fear. It's about hope. And in that struggle, if you'll pardon my stealing a film line, the force is with us.
I love that clip. You know, not about retaliation, about prevention, not about war, about peace. I think that's so great. What I'm standing next to now, believe it or not, is an original command launch equipment console, known as the CLE, CLE. Now, what's so crazy about this, if you're looking at it, this looks 1970s, this looks 1980s. This was used until 2018. That's insane. This was used until 2018. And the purpose of the CLE was to be able to launch and track any ground-based inceptors sent out to stop a nuclear attack. This was in use until, as I said, 2018. In its retirement, I'm going to take a step back. Ronald Reagan created the Strategic Defense Initiative. It began an organization or a group or an agency called the Strategic Defense Initiative Organization. That name, that group, that organization changed names a handful of times, including during the Clinton administration and others. And most recently, the name was changed to MDA, Missile Defense Agency. So Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative, what he came up with in 1983, is still being used today under the guidelines of the Missile Defense Agency. This CLE was owned and operated by the Missile Defense Agency, and when it went offline in 2018, they donated it to the Reagan Library. So one of the things that we talk about in this side of the exhibition is that the Strategic Defense Initiative was just one way that Ronald Reagan used to bring the Soviet Union to the bargaining table, to help bring an end to the Cold War, to help bring an end to nuclear war, to nuclear missiles. And in 1987, Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev signed the INF Treaty. The INF Treaty, its main purpose, main goal, it actually destroyed, they agreed to destroy all intermediate range nuclear missiles in the US and the Soviet Union. It was groundbreaking. In this exhibition and some of the cases behind me, we have actual fragments of the missiles that were destroyed on display. But this, when they were destroying the missiles, they agreed to deactivate and save 15 of the missiles so that they could be used for educational purposes. This is one of the 15 missiles that was saved. This missile was created by the United States as a countermeasure for the buildup of nuclear weapons on the Soviet Union. It's a ground-based launched cruise missile, so it would be launched from the ground. And again, at one point, this was a nuclear missile that we have here on display as part of this exhibition, Star Wars and SDI, Defending America and the Galaxy. Super cool. I'm going to go back to these screens right now and see if anyone else has added anything. There's still time, so if you haven't, please do add. We have Stephen and Andrew from Chino Hills. Thank you so much. I'm really sorry if I miss you, and I really appreciate everyone who's adding. We got Kelly. Which came first, Star Wars or SDI? Great question. Star Wars. Star Wars came out in '77, and then of course The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi in '80 and '83. Ronald Reagan announced his Strategic Defense Initiative in March of 1983. Great question, thank you for that. Eight-year-old, oh no, Josephine said, I'm from Simi Valley, I liked the ships. Oh, he's with his aunt, thank you so much, that's really cool. Kelly, the Reagan Library is a must-see, such an awesome place. And I'd like to say, that's a great point, so thank you. This is one admission ticket price. So when you come to the Reagan Library and you buy a ticket, you're not just seeing this great Star Wars SDI exhibit, you're seeing the entire Reagan Museum. You're walking on board Air Force One, you're seeing the Oval Office replica, you're seeing the Berlin Wall, you're seeing the final resting place of President and Mrs. Reagan. So one ticket price gets you everything. I'm going to switch over to LinkedIn really quick and see if anyone said anything from over there. I think I have to turn the screen. And LinkedIn is not, well, if you're on LinkedIn, I'm sorry. I'm seeing something that that won't work for me. So sorry about that. So now we are going to go into our store. As you may know, if you watch these with us, every time we do a live from, we go into our store or talk about items from the store and highlight some products that we're selling. This one is so cool that we're actually walking into the store. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. I've already told my store director that this exhibit's going to bankrupt me. So if you go to reaganlibrary.com/store, you can either scroll down to the featured products section and you'll see everything we're talking about, or just scroll the items, go into the exhibit section. One of the toys is apparently talking right now, so I think it's a lightsaber. So I apologize if you're hearing weird feedback. It's a lightsaber. the highlight that we're going to talk about today is this Baby Yoda, this Grogu. This is on the expensive side, and I'm showing it to you so that you can understand that we have items in the store for Star Wars spanning from the least expensive to the most expensive. I believe this is just over $400, and that's because it's a very limited edition Grogu. All of the hair has been hand punched. It's made by, I think, Legacy Effects, which is an award-winning design company. Just super incredible. But you know, we also have the little plush dolls, so you don't have to spend $400. We're going to back up to the table over here and just show some of the items that are in the store. Of course, we have t-shirts that highlight the Reagan Library and this special exhibition. We have Star Wars shirts specifically, not necessarily tied to the Reagan Library. So the shirts are really great. You know, you can't, who doesn't have mugs and Stanleys and Contigos or whatever your brand is. So we have our logo on coffee mugs and water bottles, so you can take Star Wars with you wherever you go. So these are really great. We also have a ton of really amazing coffee table books. The two I'm going to show you, just a very beautiful Star Wars year by year of visual history. It's heavy, but it's just a stunning book of history and photos and knowledge facts about Star Wars. So a really great coffee table book for the collector. And then the other book we have, I'll come back over to you. I should have prepared it and I didn't. Even heavier book, The Making of Star Wars. Another just stunning coffee table book that we have on display. Seeing the cover here makes me remember one of the things on display in the exhibition is an actual letter that Mark Hamill wrote a fan. We have that on display as well. But just amazing photos, amazing color, amazing history. So a really great coffee table book for the fan and not the fan. You will become a fan. Now, again, there are so many items to choose from in this store, but my personal favorite, and I should have prepared these, and I guess I didn't think through this properly. My personal favorite are these plush dolls. This Chewbacca one makes me smile every time I see it. In fact, I think I will be buying one, and it will be going on my desk. How great are these plush dolls? And there is a fourth one that you have to see, so I'm going to walk away, because you can't not have this guy. How fantastic are these plush dolls? They are not expensive, really easy to collect all for the child in your family, your inner child. Mine's my inner child. I don't have any more children, so this is my inner child. This is the guy I think I'm getting for myself. How cute is this? So just again, this is just the smallest of samples of the entire collection we have here for this exhibition. I'm highlighting the Star Wars things. We also have Strategic Defense Initiative items, books, things of that nature, but so many things in here to choose from. Again, Reagan, you don't even have to come out to Simi Valley. You can just go to reaganlibrary.com/store, scroll down the featured products section. You'll see some of the items I spoke about, or you can pretty much scroll the entire section on the website and buy anything Star Wars related or Ronald Reagan related. So before we tune out, I will go back and look at the screens one more time. I do always so appreciate you guys tuning in. It's so great. I love doing these with you. Let's see if we have any last questions. Jim Lawson, hi from Arizona. Are you that Jim Lawson? That's the docent here, or is that just the same name? John Schickling, thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. Max Walker, just so great that you guys are all tuning in. I will try one more time for LinkedIn. I do apologize if that's the one you're on and I'm not seeing it, but yeah, it's not showing me the live from. So thank you all so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Don't know where I'll be coming to you from the library next month, but just you have to tune in and find out where in the Reagan Library will Melissa Giller be on the next Wednesday in May. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Voyage into Ronald Reagan's Strategic Defense Initiative, known to some as Star Wars. Transcend the Star Wars movie phenomenon as science fiction becomes reality. Come face to face with SDI's space-based missile technology, which transformed our national security, alongside Darth Vader's helmet, Princess Leia's dress, and more original items from the Star Wars franchise, defending America and the galaxy. Star Wars and SDI. Exhibition now at the Reagan Library.